Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special episode of Lights, Thunder, Action. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester, a.k.a. Thor, son of Dale.
And I'm David Thompson. And today, very special episode, we are joined by William Sadler, the one and only. Bring him in.
Grim Reaper.
Bill, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing very well. We're so happy to have you on. This is very exciting for us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Yes. How early is it there?
Oh, it's like 10 o'clock here in the Hudson River Valley.
Okay. So it's not like too
it's
early.
not that early. I was just up until 3 or 4 binge watching Breaking Bad last night.
Well, that's a whole podcast in itself talking about.
I am the one who knocks.
That was fantastic.
So good.
I'm waiting for a reboot where William Sadler plays Walter White, or maybe, yeah.
They better hurry.
So Bill and Ted 3, it's coming out Friday on VOD. How is it getting back into the whole, death?
Death is easier to come by than you might imagine. I was really surprised. I watched the first 2 movies again before I went down to shoot it, the third one.
Yeah.
Just to remind myself of the, gestures and accent and what have you. But the minute I put on the Czechoslovakian accent and the robes, he just came back to life. It was like I've been carrying him around in my pocket for 30 years and let him come out to play.
Have you found that being a common thread with like other roles where you can just be like, oh, that character, I can just pull that out of my back pocket and go back in character?
Some of them. I mean, like Haywood in Shawshank, they're just so close to me, or and it only takes it's like there's a gesture that the Reaper does that it's like this. It's this like feminine sort of clutching my pearls.
Yeah.
It only takes a touch of that, and I start, he drops right back in.
Yeah. It's funny. I loved you in Shawshank, and I actually just recently watched that movie for the first time, probably a year ago. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't alive when it was made. So.
It's okay.
Thanks, David. Now you're making everybody feel old.
You're welcome. But I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you finally got to see it.
Yeah. What's funny is I actually saw you as President Ellis in Iron Man 3 before I saw Shawshank. Nice. And honestly, I am a huge Marvel fan. Like when I saw that, I was like, wait, he's the US president in Iron Man 3. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to be able to talk to him. I really wanted to ask you, like, your experience working on a Marvel set and just that movie in general.
It was extraordinary. I've never worked on a film that was quite that big a logical event,
Yeah.
And it was just a world of green screens and like the scene where the president is hanging over the fire and so on. He's like being held hostage. They actually hung me up, but I'm in a total green screen and and as I recall, I was just wearing the helmet, and the rest of it is like these blue pajamas with spots all over them.
Oh man!
Right?
Yeah, like the mocap suit
and
or whatever.
And the harness. Yeah, exactly. The mocap.
Mm-hmm.
Mocap.
Yeah, motion capture. I think it's short for.
But it was great. I mean, it was weird as hell because you're doing the scene, and the director is watching a monitor. He's not even really watching you. Mm-hmm. He's watching you on the monitor, and he says, look to the left. Now they're shooting at you. Okay.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Look, further to the left. Yeah, that's good. That's it. Now they're shooting again. Now it's on fire, and it's like, you're just cooking it up.
Yeah, is that like the only film you've done where it's Well, I think a Marvel film or like any comic book film, it's so CGI and green screen, the major budget. Yeah.
It's total. It's total. My favorite thing though on the set was that when I came, every time I entered the sound stage, the crew started to hum "Hail to the Chief," and it just like it was just great. So.
I wanted to ask you one thing about the behind the scenes. There's that plane scene, if you remember, where like they come and occupy the plane. It leads to that massive, like all the people are falling and all that stuff. Right. So, like, was that a set piece, or how much of that was green screen?
That was a set. The interior of the plane was a set that they built so they could remove walls and shoot from any direction. They could light it from the outside.
Yeah.
The outside of the plane was green screen. Like when you first, when you see me go up the long stairway into the plane, there's no plane there.
Oh, okay.
There's just it looks like a bath towel of green at the top of the stairs.
So when you get out and like say hi to Rhodey, there's nothing behind you?
Nothing.
That is awesome.
I mean, well, there's guys, the soldiers in the foreground and the carpet and the stairway out on a tarmac somewhere, but there's no plane.
Oh, okay.
Just walk to the top of the stairs, wave, and turn around, and that's cut.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's amazing.
So, Thomas, you had a question.
Yes. So I was just going to say it's a real big sandbox. But to pivot, do you have any more Marvel stuff, David?
I had one.
Okay, go. You keep on the MCU real quick.
So you worked with Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. What's he like? Just in a couple sentences.
He was a sweetheart. He was very nice. I didn't have scenes with him per se.
Oh, you didn't?
Well, not.
I think it was like budding scenes.
So much. What's that?
Yeah. You guys had like budding scenes, like you'd be in the room that one shot, and then he would the next, or something like that.
Yeah. But he was terrific. He was very sweet. To me.
I did have one more question. I'm sorry.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
He uses crystals and attaches them to the cameras and the sound recorders.
What?
Great big crystals aimed at the actors. So that's why those movies are so successful, because he channels the energy.
I wanted to ask you, has anyone at Marvel hit you up about being President Ellis again since Iron Man 3?
No, I guess there are term limits.
Damn society.
No,
dang it.
Damn democratic society.
You totally could have popped up in Civil War.
Of course I could. I actually shot a thing for Ant-Man.
Ooh.
That I shot a bit of President Ellis for Ant-Man, but then they decided to use a different president. I don't know.
Oh, we got to find that footage. I want to see that, man.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty silly.
So you've been making music, and some of your songs are on the HWWS Indie Radio internet channel. That was hard to say for some reason. How long have you been singing and making music and stuff like that?
Oh goodness, I guess since junior high, back 1963 or something.
Yeah,
a long time. I've been writing. I started playing music when I was like 7 or 8. My father had I had a ukulele and he had a baritone ukulele, and we used to play. He taught me to play, and then he got a guitar and I got a banjo, and then I discovered girls and I got an electric guitar and started a garage band called the Night Riders in Orchard Park, New York. KNR GHT RYDER, because we were that cool.
Oh yeah.
And we just it was all covers. We didn't but we would play anything that had 3 chords, like
Yeah.
Louie Louie, or 96 Tears.
Hey, Green Day's made some headway with 3 chords, so.
But I've been, but then I sort of got more serious about writing my own songs. Back in the 90s, I started, actually really focusing on writing my own stuff and performing it around. So
have you always been a creative person? Like, you've been writing songs, you were in a band, you're obviously a very well-known actor. Was there ever a time where you're like, yeah, I'm not going to be a school teacher or an engineer or something, I'm going to do this? Was there ever like that moment where you had to just decide that you're going to do what you actually love, or was it just always acting, songwriting, singing?
I did stand-up comedy when I was in high school, back before the garage band. Well, actually, at the same time as the garage band, I was playing the banjo and telling jokes.
But sounds awesome.
But then when I discovered acting, it was like that became. I just felt that was this is something I'm pretty good at. I should, maybe I could make a living doing this. And the Vietnam War was raging at the same time. So if you went away to college, you could stay out you could get a student deferment for a little while.
Yeah. Gotcha.
There was an incentive not, to get my butt off to Geneseo and then Cornell, and
right.
Just worked out that way.
So what would you? Oh, sorry, Thomas.
I was just gonna be like, I'd rather go to college than go to war too. Like every day of the week.
There were a lot of us,
Yeah.
Those were the days. There was a draft, and there was a lottery, and you got a number from 1 to 365.
Oh man.
Based on your birthday, and so.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought, I'll go to school for a little while, see if I can push that off.
Yeah. And no doubt, that's smart. I will ask, we have a few minutes left here. What do you think was your first kind of big break where you were like, all right, I've quote unquote made it, or quote unquote, hey, I can make a living off of doing this? Like, what do you think was that first role that you landed that it was like, hey, I'm actually successful?
This is fun.
Yeah.
Gosh, I guess the first time I made any money doing this was 1973 in Boulder, Colorado, at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival. They cast me as Hamlet, and I had studied acting for like 5 years already in college.
Yeah.
And they paid me, and I think it was something like $500 for the whole summer. But it was money. I was actually being paid to do this thing that I loved doing. And
right.
It was just a revelation. It was like, I didn't have to wash. When I got to New York, I had to wash dishes for a while and do some other jobs. Yeah. But then the theater jobs started coming faster and faster, and then Broadway, and then movies, and I never had to take any other side jobs. So
yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know that I've ever really thought that I made it.
Right. Always just been working, always trying to find the next role, I guess.
That is sort of the life of an actor.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is that normally how it goes, where you go, Broadway, the stage, essentially, then to the big screen or the small screen TV?
It's how it went for me. It's a slower route, and there's not much money in the theater, but
right.
I have to say it's a great training ground.
Right.
Because you're rehearsing 8 hours a day for a month. You're performing 8 shows a week.
Yeah.
Once the curtain goes up, no one can yell cut.
Right.
It's on you.
Yeah.
It's on you and your fellow players. And either you can cook it up right then and there, or you can't. And,
sounds exciting, really.
It's breathtakingly. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
there are great muscles that get worked for actors when they have to perform, they have to pull it up again and again and again, and it helps when you get to film.
So Thomas, we got to kind of wrap up here. Anything else from you? You got any other questions?
No, I feel like Chris Farley right now on that SNL segment where he's just like, you remember that time you did this? That was awesome. That's how I feel this whole time.
I will say I have a lot more questions. I'd love to talk to you, Lauren, but we cannot keep you any longer. Yes. Thank you so much for coming on our show. We really, really appreciate it. Thanks for asking my nerdy Marvel questions. That was so awesome.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. I'll see you at the movies.
Yes.
See you at the movies.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that was William Sadler, the amazing, well-known actor. He's actually heading on over to Nerd Culture right now. So you can hop on Nerd Culture's Facebook page or stay right here on the HWWS WebTV YouTube channel. And you'll be able to join that interview. And really, we don't get to talk to him that much longer, but we still get to learn from him for the next couple hours as he's hopping on many of the HWWS WebTV affiliates. And while I go to my day job, the one thing that I really don't want to do, I will be watching all of this evening, unfortunately for me. David, I love your shirt, bro. I didn't get to say it before. I'm jealous. That's better than any shirt I have. It's a zoo Hawaiian shirt. Like, wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right.
Thank you all. Yes, it's been great. Thank you all for joining us. And again, all of you that are watching right now, just hop right on over to Nerd Culture so that you can keep up and enjoy the rest of your Monday morning with William Sadler, a.k.a. the Grim Reaper.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.